What if I told you that a nutrient hiding in plain sight, like literally in your kitchen right now, has the power to drastically improve or even cure certain forms of schizophrenia?
I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, honestly.
Right, it totally does. But if you open your medicine cabinet or just look at the back of a standard multivitamin bottle, this nutrient is probably sitting right there, completely ignored.
Yeah, just a name on a list. Nestled somewhere between vitamin A and calcium.
Totally unassuming.
We really treat it like background noise in our daily routines.
Yeah.
Because it's so readily available, we just assume, well, we assume we already understand everything it does.
Exactly. But today, we are tearing up those assumptions. We are taking a deep dive into this incredibly comprehensive text. It's called Vitamin B3, Niacin and Niacinamide Health Benefits and Risks.
And this isn't lightweight stuff either.
No, not at all. This source synthesizes heavy-hitting clinical data from top-tier medical journals. We're talking the New England Journal of Medicine, the Journal of the American College of Cardiology.
Yeah, reading through this compilation, it forces a complete reevaluation of what a simple vitamin is actually capable of doing inside the human body.
For better, and as we'll see in some cases for worse.
Oh, for sure. Much worse in some very specific scenarios.
So our mission for this deep dive is to rescue vitamin B3 from that dusty back corner of your medicine cabinet. We're going to explore its seemingly miraculous benefits for the brain and the body, but we are also going to uncover some very serious, almost shocking paradoxes in the clinical data.
Which is so important because people need the full context.
Exactly. We want you to walk away from this fully informed about both the power and the potential danger of this nutrient. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So, before we get into the wild psychiatric case studies and all the medical mysteries, we need to establish the absolute basics. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Well, the first hurdle is realizing that vitamin B3 isn't just one single compound. It is essentially a tale of two vitamins. You have two main water-soluble forms. The first is niacin, which is scientifically known as nicotinic acid,
Okay.
and the second is niacinamide, known as nicotinamide.
Which sound very similar.
They do, yeah. And for everyday, general nutritional purposes, these two are often just grouped together on a label. But biochemically, they have completely distinct physical properties.
And the human body does some pretty clever chemistry to manage them, right?
Oh, it's incredibly resourceful. Your body can actively convert niacin into niacinamide if it senses a specific need.
Wow, it just changes it on the fly.
Yep. Furthermore, it doesn't even have to rely solely on direct B3 intake. The liver can actually manufacture niacinamide from scratch.
From scratch. How?
It uses tryptophan. That's an amino acid abundant in animal-based foods, so it has backup systems upon backup systems.
But despite that interchangeability, they behave very differently when you take them in higher doses. Like taking a high dose of niacin widens your blood vessels.
Right, which causes what people call skin flushing.
Yeah, your skin gets intensely red and warm, but niacinamide skips that effect entirely.
Exactly. And on the flip side, niacin is famous in the medical world for improving elevated cholesterol levels. Niacinamide, on the other hand, does not affect cholesterol at all.
It's wild that they're grouped together, that the form you use completely dictates the medical outcome.
It really does. But underneath all those differences, they both share a core biological function that is absolutely non-negotiable for human survival.
Okay, lay it on us.
Niacin is the essential building block for two specific coenzymes in your body. One is NAD, which stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. And the other is NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate.
Okay, let me jump in here because when I was reading the sources, I was trying to visualize what NAD and NADP actually do, and I came up with an analogy.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
So think of these molecules like your body's internal currency exchange booth.
Okay, I like where this is going.
When you eat food like dietary proteins, fats, carbohydrates, that is basically like walking into the booth with foreign currency. Your body can't just spend a carbohydrate directly to make a muscle move.
Right, it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. So NAD and NADP are the tellers at the booth. They take that foreign currency of food and convert it into the local currency.
The usable cellular energy, or ATP.
Yes. The currency that your cells can actually spend.
That analogy hits the nail on the head, honestly.
Yeah.
Without that currency conversion, all that raw fuel just sits there, completely useless.
Just a pile of foreign cash.
Exactly. But the work of NAD and NADP goes way beyond just energy. There are also these powerful antioxidants that stop free radicals, protecting your body against cellular tissue damage.
Which is huge.
And they're even required to synthesize the starch that gets stored in your muscles and liver, which acts as your reserve energy tank.
Okay, so with all of those critical jobs, you would think we need to ingest massive amounts of this stuff every day just to keep the lights on.
You'd think so, but the daily requirement is actually surprisingly tiny.
Like, how tiny?
The intake guidelines from the Institute of Medicine are measured in mere milligrams. Adult females need about 14 milligrams a day.
14? That's nothing.
I know. It only bumps up to 18 during pregnancy and 17 during lactation. Adult males need about 16 milligrams. Children aged 9 to 13 need 12 milligrams.
And infants.
Infants need a minuscule 2 to 4 milligrams a day.
We are talking about literal specks of powder here.
The contrast between the physical amount needed and its biological impact is just staggering. Because these molecules act as catalysts, meaning they get recycled in the body, you only need a tiny trickle to maintain the entire system.
That makes sense.
But because B3 is fundamentally tied to that currency exchange of cellular energy, its reach is vast. Every single cell relies on it.
So if you don't have it...
When something is this crucial to basic energy production, an absence of those few milligrams doesn't just cause a mild problem, it causes catastrophic system failures.
Right. And if B3 powers fundamental cellular energy, then the most energy-hungry organ in your entire body, your brain, is going to suffer dramatically when the supply lines get cut.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the part of the source material that completely blew my mind.
Yeah, the psychiatric connection. I mean, the brain accounts for about 2% of your body weight,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
But it consumes roughly 20% of your total energy. So when there is a true B3 deficiency, the psychological impacts are just devastating.
Now, in the developed world, primary deficiency is pretty rare, right?
It is. It's mostly seen in cases of severe alcoholism, which actively blocks nutrient absorption.
But the physical symptoms alone are wild. The sources mentioned you get severe indigestion, crushing fatigue, canker sores, vomiting, poor circulation, and this hallmark symptom.
Right, the bright, beefy red tongue.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
It is. And a severe prolonged deficiency leads to a specific disease known as pellagra. Historically, medical students learned the symptoms of pellagra as the 3 Ds: cracked, scaly dermatitis on the skin, chronic diarrhea, and profound dementia.
A vitamin deficiency literally causing dementia is terrifying.
It really highlights how vulnerable the brain is.
And that psychological link gets even deeper in the clinical data. Like the sources highlighted a 2016 study from Korea involving over 2,000 women.
Right. They compared adult women who were clinically depressed against those who were not.
And what did they find?
The researchers found that the depressed women, and this included both young adults in their 20s and older women between 50 and 64, they had notably lower niacin intake and significantly poorer overall nutritional quality.
Wow. But where this research truly pushes the boundaries of modern medicine is in the treatment of schizophrenia.
This is the part that is really hard to believe until you read the data.
Yes. The sources detail a 2015 European Review article from researchers in China.
They analyzed multiple studies where patients with acute schizophrenia were given niacin supplementation right alongside their standard care.
And the results.
One study showed that 75% of the treatment group achieved a 10-year cure rate.
75%.
Yeah. While the control group only saw a 37% cure rate.
That is a massive difference.
It is. And another randomized study took 31 people with acute schizophrenia and gave them niacin, niacinamide, or a placebo for just 30 days.
Just a month.
Just a month. After 1 year, the treated subjects had an 80% recovery rate compared to just 33% for the placebo group.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Because, I have to push back here on behalf of everyone listening.
Sure, go ahead.
We are talking about dementia, depression, schizophrenia. These are profoundly complex, devastating psychiatric conditions that puzzle top neurologists.
Oh, absolutely.
Are we really saying a simple vitamin deficiency perfectly mimics them? Like, are we sure we aren't just confusing correlation with causation here?
That's a perfect question to ask. What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism. We're definitely not saying that every single case of depression or schizophrenia is simply a vitamin deficiency.
Right.
But the brain's complete reliance on B3 for ATP energy means that a biochemical deficit physically manifests as a psychological breakdown.
Because it just doesn't have the power to run.
Exactly. Neurons require massive amounts of energy to fire neurotransmitters across synapses. If they lack the NAD to create that energy, the neurons just misfire.
So, to use the analogy, the currency exchange booth shuts down, so the brain literally can't pay its electric bill.
That's a great way to put it. And when the brain's grid goes dark, you see hallucinations, cognitive decline, severe mood disorders.
Wow.
When the researchers state that niacin deficiency appears to be an important contributor to at least some cases of schizophrenia, they are acknowledging that the brain is a physical machine. If the biological fuel is absent, the machine breaks.
That is it's incredible. But if a lack of B3 causes the brain's internal wiring to misfire like that, what happens when we look at the body's external physical barriers?
Oh, the clinical trials show that B3's protective power extends powerfully into the skin and the vascular system, too.
Let's examine the skin first, because this was wild. The source material details a 2015 Phase 3 randomized controlled trial.
Published in the New England Journal of Medicine.
Yeah, the gold standard. Researchers in Sydney, Australia studied 386 high-risk patients. These individuals had already developed at least 2 non-melanoma skin cancers in the previous 5 years.
So these are people whose skin is highly susceptible to ultraviolet radiation damage.
Right. For 12 months, half the subjects took 500 milligrams of niacinamide twice a day. The other half took a placebo. And every 3 months, dermatologists meticulously evaluated their skin.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, I was going to say that. But yes, here's where it gets really interesting. After just 12 months, the rate of new non-melanoma skin cancers was 23% lower in the people taking the niacinamide.
That's a huge reduction.
Huge. And they also had 11% fewer of those rough, scaly, precancerous patches of skin. I mean, imagine niacinamide acting as this daily internal sunscreen for these high-risk patients.
And the mechanism behind that internal sunscreen goes right back to what we talked about, cellular energy.
How so?
Ultraviolet radiation actively damages the DNA in your skin cells. Repairing that DNA requires a massive surge of cellular energy. By supplying high doses of niacinamide, the patients were essentially giving their skin cells an overflowing reserve of NAD.
Which allowed the cells to rapidly repair the UV damage before it could mutate into cancer.
Exactly.
But the study noted a critical catch, which I found fascinating. After the patient stopped taking the supplement, the protective effect vanished.
Yep. The shield drops the moment the supply stops.
Which honestly just proves the vitamin was actively doing the heavy lifting while they were on it.
Absolutely.
And if niacinamide is the internal sunscreen, regular niacin acts like a vascular plumber, right? Clearing the pipes of your circulatory system.
The sheer volume of cardiovascular data is impressive. For instance, a 2016 Canadian study looked at mice bred to have metabolic syndrome.
Which models human obesity and poor diet.
Right. And they found that daily injections of low-dose niacin led to enhanced revascularization, decreased inflammation in the blood vessels, and even better use of their hind limbs.
Okay, but what about in humans?
Scaling up to humans, a 2014 study out of Boulder, Colorado, looked at 127 healthy older adults. It proved that higher dietary niacin intake directly correlates with lower systemic oxidative stress and better vascular endothelial functioning.
Which basically means the lining of their blood vessels was healthier and more flexible.
Exactly. And then you have a 2013 meta-analysis in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology.
That's a big one.
Massive. They aggregated 11 different trials involving nearly 10,000 subjects. The conclusion was definitive. Niacin is an effective agent to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease.
The sources even specified which type of niacin works, which is an important detail. A 2013 Minnesota study proved that only extended-release niacin significantly improved LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol.
Because they tested another compound called inositol hexanocontin, right?
Yeah, which is often marketed as flush-free niacin.
And it failed completely. Inositol hexanocontin doesn't break down effectively into active niacin in the bloodstream.
People take it to avoid that red, warm skin flushing, but by avoiding the flush, they also avoid all the vascular benefits.
You're just wasting your money at that point.
Totally. So based on all this, we have an airtight case, right? Vitamin B3 cures schizophrenia, prevents skin cancer, clears out your arteries. It's just a medical miracle worker.
Well, if only science were that simple. This is where the narrative pivots pretty sharply. Treating a biologically active nutrient as a harmless supplement, especially when prescribed in massive doses, can be incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, we really have to look at the dark side of vitamin B3. Because when niacin bites back, it bites hard. The text is very clear on this. Getting B3 from food is universally safe.
Totally safe.
But when you move to high-dose synthetic supplements, you are playing with fire.
The documented side effects of excessive high-dose niacin are severe. We're talking patients developing nausea, jaundice, elevated liver enzymes, clinical liver damage, and stomach ulcers.
The thing that completely threw me for a loop in the sources were the massive UK studies, published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2014 and then followed up in Circulation in 2016.
Oh, those studies.
Yeah. The scale of this research is staggering. They tracked 25,673 adults.
But it is vital to look at the baseline health of those 25,000 adults.
Right, context matters.
These were patients with a mean age of 65 who were already suffering from severe atherosclerotic vascular disease.
Okay.
They had histories of heart attacks, strokes, or diabetes combined with symptomatic coronary disease.
So they were an incredibly fragile, high-risk population.
Very much so.
The researchers gave them 2 grams of extended-release niacin combined with 40 milligrams of laropiprant, which is an anti-flushing cholesterol drug, and they followed them for almost 4 years.
And given everything we just discussed about niacin clearing arteries, you would expect major improvements, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
The results were a clinical disaster.
Wow.
The treatment did not reduce the risk of heart attacks or strokes at all. Worse, it actually appeared to increase the overall risk of death.
And the cascade of side effects was terrifying. There was a 55% increase in the loss of blood sugar control among the diabetic patients.
Which is incredibly dangerous for them.
Yeah, and there was a 32% increase in brand new diabetes diagnoses. Beyond that, patients suffered from excess bleeding, severe infections, gout, serious gastrointestinal issues, and liver toxicity.
And the 2016 follow-up study confirmed that these medical events destroyed the patient's quality of life and skyrocketed their hospital costs.
It's just tragic.
Honestly, the control group taking the placebo was significantly healthier and better off.
Okay, hold on. You have to help me reconcile this glaring paradox.
Let's do it.
Because in the previous section, we literally just discussed a 10,000-person meta-analysis saying niacin actively reduces cardiovascular disease risk.
Right.
And the Minnesota study said it improves cholesterol.
Yeah, that's what the data showed.
Now you're telling me a 25,000-person study says it doesn't help at all, that it causes rampant diabetes and might actually kill people with vascular disease, which is it. How can both be biologically true?
It sounds contradictory, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, the paradox untangles itself entirely. It all comes down to context, dosage, and pre-existing conditions.
Okay, break that down for me.
The positive cardiovascular studies were largely looking at dietary intake or preventative use. They involved relatively healthy individuals, or even mice, using moderate or low doses to support natural vascular function.
And the UK study was the complete opposite.
Exactly. It took a fragile population whose blood vessels and metabolic systems were already severely damaged by decades of disease. Then, they threw a massive high-dose combination of drugs at them.
2 grams is a lot, right?
Niacin at 2 grams is an enormous metabolic load. The liver has to process all of it. When you combine that heavy load with a system already struggling with diabetes, plus other medications like laropiprant, it causes intense insulin resistance.
It's basically the difference between doing routine maintenance on a sturdy bridge versus driving a 100-ton cargo truck over a bridge that is already crumbling.
That is the perfect analogy. Flooding a heavily diseased system with high-dose niacin doesn't magically fix the pipes. It overwhelms the liver, disrupts blood sugar regulation, and creates a toxic biological cascade.
Wow, so context really dictates whether B3 is a vital nutrient or a hazard.
It does. People who already have cardiovascular problems need to use niacin with extreme care and only under strict medical supervision.
It's a powerful tool, and you can't just swing a sledgehammer when you need a scalpel.
Exactly.
So what does this actually mean for your morning routine? We've traversed some incredibly complex medical studies today. We've seen B3 act as a shield for the brain and skin, and a potential hazard in high doses for the chronically ill.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but the clear takeaway from the source material is that the safest, most effective way to reap the benefits of vitamin B3 is simply through the grocery store.
Always. The human body absorbs and utilizes nutrients best in their natural packaging. When you get B3 from food, it's virtually impossible to overdose or trigger liver toxicity.
Which is a huge relief.
Yeah. Furthermore, foods naturally balance the biological ledger.
So next time you are making a grocery list, keep these top B3 heavy hitters in mind to keep your brain and body fueled. Cremini mushrooms, tuna, chicken, turkey, and salmon are fantastic.
All great sources.
And for your veggies, load up on asparagus and bell peppers.
And remember, eating protein-rich foods like turkey also provides that amino acid tryptophan.
Oh, right, the backup system.
Exactly. Remember how we established that the liver can manufacture its own niacinamide from tryptophan?
Yeah.
By eating these foods, you provide the raw materials, allowing your body to synthesize exactly the ratio of niacin to niacinamide it needs for optimal function, safely and naturally.
It really is the easiest way to keep your cellular currency exchange booth fully staffed and running smoothly.
Without burning down booth.
Right, without burning it down. Well, we want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over today. A provocative question derived purely from the facts we've just explored.
This is something that really stayed with me after reading the sources.
Yeah, me too. We now know that a simple, highly preventable vitamin B3 deficiency can manifest as severe dementia, deep depression, or even schizophrenia.
It's truly wild.
It is. It makes you wonder as we look around at our modern society with so many people struggling with seemingly incurable mood or cognitive issues. How many of those struggles might actually just be a hidden, subtle nutritional blind spot just waiting to be discovered in the food we eat?
It's a powerful question to ask.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll see you next time.